we're here to talk about kind of the harsh truth around supplements. Today we're going to run into, are they important? Should you be taking them? What supplements can everybody benefit from? Supplements to avoid. And then lastly, I got a nice little supplement strategy for everybody.
You're listening to the Lifestyle Nutrition Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Dwyer.
And I'm Alex Wojciechowski. We cut through the BS in the health and fitness industry and give you the strategies you need to make real progress when it comes to your health, your body, and fitting all this stuff into your lifestyle.
So I'm running a 21-day challenge here coming up. The start date's the 23rd. We're going to have the kickoff call on the 22nd. And basically what's going to happen is the winner's going to get $500 throughout this. The last time we ran it, we had all of the ladies in the group saw some amazing results just with developing healthier habits, gaining energy, improving their sleep. And some of them even lost up to 10 pounds during those 21 days. So if you want to get involved on this 21-day challenge, spots are limited for it this time. But just shoot me an email at alexwojonutrition@gmail.com. Alex, ALEX, WOJO, nutrition@gmail.com. Or you can comment on the pod here on any one of our YouTube video or wherever we're at, and I'll make sure and get you sent over the registration link for that.
Alex, what's going on, dude?
Nick, dude, just got done with a big ass workout. I did legs this morning and I fucking killed myself in there, man. I literally, I was just telling you, I haven't pushed it this intense in a while. Felt really good, but I kind of got to that point. I don't know if you know this point. I used to push myself. I guess I didn't push myself, but like we would get pushed this hard back in college when we were doing workouts and stuff. They would really have us up to intensity and that. And I would get close sometimes to like throwing up. And I got a little bit close to that point today.
Yeah, I haven't felt that in a while. I think the last time was probably when I had like a trainer that was like mentoring me. He was like taking me through a workout. I think that was probably the last time when they're like in your face the whole time and you're like, fuck, I don't want to let them down.
It's not, that is the one aspect of having like a workout partner or like somebody pushing you, is that it's a little bit easier to get there and you get the intensity up. You don't have somebody, if you're just doing it by yourself, you don't have somebody there that's gonna like, you're like, I was telling you, like, you kind of get to that point where it's like, I was said I'm going to do 8, so I'm going to do 8, even though you kind of get to 8 and you're like, I got 2 more in the tank, even before I start getting close to failure. And it's tough to get yourself to go past that when you put a number in your mind. So I don't know, maybe sometimes it's good to just not even put a number in your mind and just be like, I'm going to go until I get about 1 rep away from failure.
Yeah, I think that's part of my problem sometimes. I was always like, all right, got to hit like these numbers, like this has to be what the set's for. But I think you definitely limit yourself when you do that all the time and always have like that number, because yeah, there's times where I've stopped and I'm probably like 5 or 6 reps away from failure and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
That's fine sometimes though. I mean, like, it's not, you shouldn't always be going 100,000,000% in the gym. Like, that's generally probably not the best formula in the world, but you can push it a lot more often than people do. And I think I've heard a lot of people out there, I know like Andy Frisella talks about it. I know like Brad Lee talks about it, like the boss voice and the bitch voice, and like trying to differentiate between the two of them. And I've kind of started to listen more to the boss voice and like push, where today, instead of stopping at like 6 reps or 8 reps when I kind of put that number on it, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to 10, and I pushed like a few more reps that were very difficult. Or, I just I had a few times where I was doing like goblet squats then in my workout, and I was like, I had 10 in my mind, and I got to 10 and I was like, I know I can do more than 10. And so I went to 12 on both of the last sets. And so I'm starting to listen a little bit more to it. And I think over time it pays a lot of dividends to do that.
Yeah. I haven't done that. Or I feel like I've been struggling with that recently in the gym, where I'm just like, whatever, like it's fine. I don't need to like push it. And there are times, like you said, where you don't always need to be pushing it, but I feel like I've fallen into that where that's happening more often than not.
But you're hurt too. You get like a back injury. That's something.
Yeah, this was even before that though. Like,
okay.
I don't know, the past like few months, 3-4 months maybe. But Yeah, just paying attention, knowing when it's the bitch voice.
Yeah, for sure. It's a little bit harder it takes practice, right? You start thinking about it a little bit. You start just being like, you kind of know at a certain point, though, when you start actually paying attention and you're more aware to the actual voice in your head, when it's that bitch voice. And it's like, okay, come on, dude. We can push past this. We can do more than this. And it always ends up paying off, I think, when you do that. When you do a little bit more than you think you have in the tank, when you push yourself a little bit farther than what you expect or than what your normal thing is, it always pays off.
Yeah, that's definitely when you see growth.
What's going on with you, dude?
Tired. I'm like very out of it still. But weekend's coming up, so I'll be able to get a little bit more sleep and chill out a little bit. Probably need to clean up, reorganize, and I think I'm going to an infrared sauna again this weekend, so that'll be a nice way to recover and get myself feeling good again.
100%, dude. Do you have a sauna at your gym?
Yeah, so I go to LA Fitness. We have there's just like a regular steam sauna there, but occasionally me and my girlfriend go to a place. It's called like Total Cryo Wellness, so they have like cryotherapy, infrared sauna, red light, all that kind of stuff. So we go there and do the infrared sauna for an hour.
I don't know if I've ever been in an infrared sauna.
Yeah, it's nice. They it's not as hot, so it doesn't feel as hot because it heats you up from the inside out. So like you're sitting in, I think, around 140 degrees, which isn't like crazy hot, so you can stay in there longer and not be like in pain the whole time.
I love the pain though. I literally, the sauna is a part of my workout. I go in, I lot for the sauna because now I'm doing 45-minute workouts. And so I'll do 45 minutes, 50 minutes maybe. Then I'll go into the sauna for about 15 minutes. And the sauna at my LA, because I go to an LA Fitness as well, it is fucking awesome. It's like 200 degrees in there. Sometimes you get in there and it's like 175 or less. That kind of sucks a little bit because then you got to stay in longer. But majority of the time recently, it's been like 190, 195, maybe 200 in there. And you don't need to stay in there too long to get a nice little stretch and also just to start to die.
Dude, my LA Fitness has got to step it up. I think ours is fucking like 160 every time I go in there, like at most.
You got to stay in there for like an hour.
Yeah, I know. But sometimes like, because I was going to another LA Fitness and they were always around 180, which was like pretty good for me. But I feel like my nose hairs are always like burning when I'm in there and I can't breathe. I don't know if you might be used to it now because you're in like 200 degree.
I've been doing saunas for a long time, and you definitely get used to it. You get used to the heat, and then you kind of crave more of it. I think like right away, if you don't do it for a long time and you get in, like 175 feels like hell. But then as you get going and you get, you just kind of, it's like, okay, this is normal. You'll push through it. If you have somebody to talk to, it always goes by like a lot quicker and easier. But sometimes people aren't. I try to talk to people in there, and like sometimes people are just, you can tell they don't really want to talk to you. But other times you get some good conversations going, and it's like, okay, this makes the time go by a lot quicker in here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you think we get going here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. So we got an awesome topic of the day today. It's all around supplements. So this is something that I feel like everybody has questions about. Honestly, this seems like one of the first things that people bring up a lot of times. They think that it is like the end all be all. It's something that's going to make this huge progress. And we're here to talk about kind of the harsh truth around supplements. Today, we're going to run into, are they important? Should you be taking them in like your day to day? What supplements can everybody benefit from? We're going to talk about those things that we've kind of put together a list of things that like everybody can generally see some good benefits from, supplements to avoid. And then lastly, I got a nice little supplement strategy for everybody. I kind of put together a little bit of a framework of how I would go about it. And so you can kind of cater this maybe to your own individual lifestyle and use these 4 steps to decide on what supplements to use, not use, how to go about it, if you use supplements at all, and hopefully clear the air for you there.
Yeah, that's the goal, to clear it up and give you guys an insight on what actually matters, what supplements actually matter, and then also like are some of them even worth taking and focusing on.
100%. And what do you think, like getting into the first question, like are supplements important? What's your thought here?
I would say they can be in terms of health. Like if you're really lacking a specific nutrient, but I think in terms of weight loss and getting results, it's going to be a lot lower on the totem pole than actually like, you know, eating well, exercising, like all the stuff that we talk about all the time. Again, I think it can help, and there's certain supplements, in my opinion, that can get you in a better place. Like, for example, one that I always liked growing up was pre-workout, not because I thought it was the best supplement that like just magically did something for me, but it got me feeling good for the gym and it improved the quality of my workout. So I think there's that end of it that can be important to understand, but I don't think there's any supplement that you can take to just see immediate results with weight loss or building muscle.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. I think that a lot of people, kind of like what I prefaced in the beginning there, a lot of people kind of view this as step one. They're like, okay, what supplements? They're looking for the quick fix, right? Like generally people who are taking all of these supplements, and I'll put my hand up, I've been a supplement tester in the past where I'll take every fucking, there's been some times where my supplement stack is like, it's like, dude, fucking, what are you doing? You're taking things I don't even fucking understand what they're doing. I don't recommend that approach. So I think that a lot of people can think that is the approach, and that they're going to be like these huge progress that they see when they start taking these certain supplements. I mean, I think that the industry in general, the health and fitness industry, the supplement industry, that's what they want you to believe, right? They want you to believe that these certain supplements, these things that you're taking are going to make this huge progress for you. And so they do that on the marketing, right? They like, oh, you should be taking this, you should be taking this. And then before you know it, people are taking like 20 different things. 15 of those things don't even do shit for them, but they don't know because they're taking everything, right? And so understanding that they can be important, especially if you have certain deficiencies, but in the end, you're going to want to focus on actually developing healthy habits around just things that are what I call the basics, right? The hydration, the movement, the quality foods, the stress, sleep. If you're developing habits around those, that's going to get you a hell of a lot farther than taking any fucking supplement.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like the next question we want to talk about was, should you even be taking supplements?
I think we kind of answered this in the first one. Like it really depends on you, right? Like if you're somebody who's deficient in something, you probably should be taking like a supplement or a vitamin, mineral, whatever to help yourself not be deficient in that. That's going to honestly potentially make some very big strides for you. But if you're not, then, and you don't struggle with getting certain things in, then really it's not a high priority in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't think it needs to be a priority.
It really depends on you. There's no way that we could really tell you exactly what to do. I think it comes down to really doing your own research around this stuff, because what works for you might not work for somebody else. And that kind of goes for everything. Like everything works some of the time. I think, like it's like these different things, they might like do wonders for somebody. They don't do anything for you. And also everybody's in a different spot. Like if you're in a spot where you have developed amazing habits, you're in a great spot with your body, you're feeling good, your sleep's in a good place, you're getting quality foods in, you're moving a lot, you're consistently exercising, you're staying hydrated, all these things that can really move the needle a lot, then maybe you can start experimenting with certain supplements to see if you can get a little bit farther ahead. Because some of these things out there, they can get you a little bit better, but you might not notice those things if you have a shitty foundation in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some supplements that you'd recommend that most people could benefit from?
I'd say the first one that comes to mind is vitamin D. I think a lot of people, there's been studies out there, a lot of people are deficient in this, or they're subclinical in vitamin D, and it has amazing benefits. I personally think everybody should be taking this in some respect, and it's gonna benefit things like bone health. It helps with calcium absorption in the gut, cell growth, helpful for the immune system. It can help your nerve and your muscle function, and also it can be helpful for like reducing inflammation in the body as well. So there's a lot of awesome benefits here. You can also get outside to help get vitamin D, but a lot of times, depending on your climate where you live, you might not be able to. I know like in Minnesota right now, I'm having a hard time getting a lot of vitamin D outside, right? Like, so you gotta make sure I would get tested for it personally, get blood work done to kind of figure out if this is a problem for you. If you don't want to do that, just take like lower doses of it. I think honestly a good starting dose would just be like 2,500 IUs personally. That for most people can probably benefit from that. If you figure out that you are deficient in it or you need more, then increase your dose. I personally take 5,000 to 10,000 a day IUs. And that's, like I said, do your own research, figure out what's best for you, but that's what I do personally.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest ones, mainly because of the amount of people that have deficiencies and then just all of the functions that it has. That's important to make sure that's covered. Another one's magnesium, just because of all the processes that it's involved with. I know sleep, recovery. I know if you have deficiencies that can cause anxiety, depression, other things like that. So definitely having enough of that. I know there's different forms. I'm not sure if you know, Alex, like what the different forms of magnesium are. I know there's different benefits to each.
I know, magnesium citrate is one that is very good for helping with like constipation, getting things moving down there. Like if you're really struggling with constipation and you've tried things like increasing your water intake, increasing your fiber intake, stuff like that, then a really good thing you could do is try to take a little bit higher doses of magnesium citrate to get things going. Another one, I think it's magnesium glycinate. Don't quote me on that, but it's, I believe, good for like the nervous system. There's certain forms of magnesium that are good for calming the nervous system down. And then there's one that I take. God, what the fuck is it called?
Is it magnesium threonate?
Threonate. I take threonate, and it can, I believe it can break through the blood-brain barrier, and so it's I take some high doses of that, and yeah, I think there's a lot of different ones that can help with different things. Calming the nervous system down. I take one of those. I think it's glycinate. I can't off the top of my head remember, but like I said, citrate, constipation, glycinate. Don't quote me on that. It helps with nervous system, and then I can't off the top of my head remember what threonate helps with. But there's some different. I think it's relaxation. Can help with like relaxation as well.
Yeah. So definitely look into the different ones if you're looking into a magnesium supplement.
Yeah, and I've also heard that like sugar depletes your magnesium, like if you're in your body, and so this might be something that you would want to research as well. I had heard this as well and read a little bit about this, that it can deplete it, and so like our diets these days can deplete your magnesium pretty quickly if that's the case, because we have a lot of that Western diet is pretty heavily a lot of added sugars and stuff like that. Yeah, I probably should have fucking looked into that a little bit more, but I just remember reading that, hearing it on a podcast that was like some big time person was talking about, and so it may or may not be true, but you know what, I figured I'd throw it in.
Yeah, it's something for the people to look into if they're interested in it.
Yeah, we're not doctors around here, doctors. But we do our best, and we're trying to give you some good information. And another one that we can talk about that just about everybody can benefit from is fish oil. So this is going to have omega-3 fatty acids in it, which are anti-inflammatory in nature, and honestly, something that a lot of people just get not enough of in. Where the typical, just like I talked about, the typical Western diet is littered in less quality foods. It's littered in omega-3 fats that are going to increase inflammation in the body. And so if you have a diet that is heavily swayed in those omega-6 fats, I think I said omega-3s, the typical Western diet is littered in omega-6 fats. We don't get enough omega-3s. These things are going to come from stuff like salmon, chia seeds, flax seeds, whole egg yolks have some in. There's a lot of foods, not a lot of foods. There's some foods out there that have a lot of omega-3 fats in them. Salmon, freshwater, fatty freshwater fish are some of the biggest ones that you can get a lot in. But, even that, like, it still doesn't really sway it too much. And so if you can take fish oil, it can help you increase the amount of omega-3s in your diet.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest ones, because if you don't eat a lot of fish, then it is really hard to get. And I think it's important when you guys are looking at the ingredients. Let me grab mine real quick. Looking at the amount of EPA and DHA in there, and making sure that I'm pretty sure the EPA is a little bit more important. So making sure there's a higher dose of that in there. This one that I have is RX Omega 3 Ultra Strength. So it has 1.3 grams of EPA in it, and a total of 2 grams of omega-3. So that's a good one to look into, but just make sure you're paying attention to how much EPA is in there. I don't know exact recommendations, but just something to be aware of.
And yeah, I would recommend dosing it high. I think yours is really good there. And, I take high doses of fish oil as well a day. I take up to 2 grams a day of like, I look at the EPA as well. That's what I base mine off of. About 2 grams of EPA a day is what I take.
Yeah, because some of them will just say, like, it'll say 1 gram of fish oil or something like that, but it'll be like 100 milligrams of EPA, and then it's just like you're not really getting exactly what you need out of it.
And make sure you're looking at added ingredients and all these too. Like a lot of these type of supplements, depending on the brand, will have a lot of filler ingredients that can be pretty shitty. And so just make sure you're looking at that. And like I said, I can't stress enough just to do your own research on this and just make sure that you're getting quality supplements. A lot of times, I think with anything you get what you pay for, right? So if you're paying for super cheap stuff, it might not be actually giving you the benefits that you want. Sometimes you got to pay a little bit more for these to get more quality supplements that are actually going to help you.
Yeah, especially if it's like these ones that are on like the top of our list, like making sure those are quality is going to be huge. Yeah. So next one, we were talking about probiotic. I don't think this has to be in there for everyone, but I think it is important for a lot of people to build up the healthy bacteria in their gut, especially because of what we're finding out about the gut now is like all of the connection it has to like the brain, immune system, and the rest of our body. So taking the probiotic will help improve the good bacteria in your gut. It'll help build it up, and then, have the rest of that impact throughout, the rest of your body.
Yeah. No, I think you said it perfectly. It's not necessarily something everybody has to take. I would probably go at those first 3 before I would decide to go to a probiotic. But if you are having issues with your digestion or gut health, it could be a good one to look into and just figure out if it's maybe a good thing for you to take to help you with that gut health and digestion a little bit.
Yeah. And I think when you're looking into getting one, I wouldn't just go to like Giant or like a store like that and just grab whatever's on the shelf. I would do a little bit more research into it, because there's different strains of it that do different things and have more of an impact. Like there's certain strains that we don't really need any more of. So I can't really give any recommendations on it, but just look into that more, look into the different types of strains, and then pay attention to the label when you're going to get one.
And another one we got just a few more here. Creatine. This is kind of in the same realm of that probiotic there. Like I would look into the vitamin D, magnesium, fish oil first. But creatine's something, if you're somebody who is trying to push it in the gym, if you're trying to get the most, maybe you're trying to build some muscle, get the most out of those gym sessions, then this is something you could look into. It's literally one of the most researched supplements out there. It's amazing for increasing your energy output in the gym, energy output in the gym. It actually, I believe it replenishes your ATP, which is like what your body's like energy currency is, like what your body uses, it's like the engine of your body. And it increases that to increase your energy output, and it's also great for recovery. There's been things coming out on that as well. So it's a good one to look into, especially if you're somebody who's lifting and you're really trying to push it in the gym. It could help you a little bit there as well.
Yeah, I think a few things with that. I would go for creatine monohydrate. there's so many different forms of it, and I think everyone, I don't know if this still happens, but when I was younger, it was always like, oh, get this kind. It's like hydrochloride or like different forms of it that like were considered to be better. And that just wasn't the case. Creatine monohydrate has always been the most researched and most effective. So I'd go with that. And yeah, I think there's also like, I don't know about anymore, but there used to be a huge stigma around it. Like, oh, like it's like, it's going to make you like gain all this water weight. You're going to look bloated. If you take it and don't train, you're going to get fat, stuff like that. That's definitely not true. And they're starting to see a lot more benefits too for brain health too. So I think it's something that pretty much everyone can take.
I love that you said that. Those are some great additions. And yeah, I have heard that, yeah, they're coming out with stuff on the brain. Yeah. Where like, even people who struggle with like some of those brain diseases like dementia, Alzheimer's, like it could potentially benefit those people. And if you catch it early or if you're maybe susceptible to that, but don't quote me on that either. But yeah, I think those are great points, and it does, help you retain some water, but it's not going to lead to you gaining like 10 pounds. And just know if you do start taking it, if you're somebody who's concerned about gaining weight, you're going to probably put on a little bit of weight with it, but it's not actual fat. It's just water.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is that it's not actual fat. You will, yeah, like Alex said, you will hold on water. You're going to have more water in your cells, or your muscle cells. So, but yeah, it's not going to change the way you look. It's not going to make you look fatter. And with building muscle, the way it helps you build muscle is increasing your energy and the way you can perform, so you can do more reps, and then indirectly that helps you build muscle.
Yeah. It helps you recover quicker as well, like where it's going to replace that ATP quicker. And so you're able to go more often, harder.
Yeah, and then the last one we wanted to talk about was protein powder. I don't think this necessarily has to be for everyone, but I think if you're struggling to get protein in, it's a really simple way to get more in. And it's just a lot more convenient, to be honest. So for the most part, I usually have a protein powder around so I can, have it there for that convenience factor, but it's not something I make sure I have every single day.
I think that's well said. I don't really have too much to add there. It's to supplement if you need protein in your diet. If you're somebody who isn't getting enough in, take a protein powder, can help you get there a little bit easier. You can mix in a shake here and there. You can toss it in some of your recipes, some of your foods throughout the day. And lastly, supplements to avoid. And we don't have too much to say on this. Like, I would say, honestly, like I said, do your research, right? Like, do your research. You get what you're paid for. And also just like stay away from stuff that's not third-party tested. There's a lot of brands out there that are quality, they're tested. Like I said, they might be a little more expensive, but you know what you're getting with them. There's a lot of brands out there that are bullshit. They're very cheap. The ingredients are very cheap. They're probably some of them they're going to cause more harm than good. I know some of these are littered with like heavy metals. You get those green supplements that people think that are like super, super good, and you get plenty of them out there that have been shown to be littered with like really bad ingredients and like heavy metals that can do more damage than good. And so just make sure you're looking at the ingredients list, you're doing your research, just making sure they're tested, and probably staying away from fat burners, right? Like I think that people think that those are gonna like they literally all they do is they're loaded with caffeine, so that you're all hopped up and you move more, and then you burn more calories.
Yeah, and then you're not as hungry.
Yeah, it's fucking bullshit.
You could drink a coffee instead. Yeah, I think a fat burner is a waste of money. Also, looking at the ingredients, if there's like a bunch of crazy fucking words on there that you've never seen before, I'm not saying it's definitely bad, but you might want to look into it a little bit more and make sure that those are actual good ingredients. Also, be a little bit skeptical of ones that don't have labels that show you everything that's in it, or have like a proprietary blend. A lot of companies used to do this where they'd say, all right, we have this focus blend, and then they'll put, there's caffeine in there. There's a bunch of different things, but it just tells you the total amount of grams in the whole blend, and you don't know how much caffeine's in there. There could be 2 milligrams or there could be 400. So stuff like that it's important to pay attention to, because if they're not showing you that, they might not be putting in doses of it that actually will help you. So I'm not saying that it's always a bad thing and they're always bad ingredients and formulas, but just pay attention to that. And then, yeah, just focusing on getting stuff that's quality, I think is really the biggest thing.
100%, dude. I don't have too much more to add on that. I think that you said it all. And lastly, let's end with my my supplement strategy. So this is I wrote down a framework of what you can use in your own lifestyle to figure out what to fucking take when it comes to supplements. And we talked about just about everything in here during the course of this, but just, step one, I would say, get your blood work done. Figure out what you're deficient in, right? Like, this is huge. There are vitamins and minerals out there that are going to make a big, big difference. And these are the ones. They can make a huge impact when it comes to your health, your fat loss, any other goal you have, if you're deficient in certain things and you start actually getting those things in. And so take these supplements first. And then if you want to try them, take our recommended supplements, right? All of these things that people can benefit from. Vitamin D, magnesium, fish oil for sure. Look into if maybe a probiotic could be a good thing for you. If you're resistance training, maybe go with creatine. And then if you struggle with getting protein in, look into the protein powder. This would be a great thing. I know Nick takes it on a daily basis. I use it on a daily basis. Honestly, I think it adds flavoring if you get a good one. I'm like an Optimum Nutrition Gold Standard vanilla ice cream guy. And so I add that to my yogurt and my oatmeal, and I think it adds really good flavor to it. And then step 3, focus your attention on developing a good foundation. And honestly, I said continue focusing on your attention on developing a good foundation, because I think this should be step 1, right? I just said, when it comes to supplements, continue focusing on a good foundation. This means the basics: hydration, sleep, stress management, daily movement, quality foods, consistent exercise. Any other supplements are really just going to be icing on the cake. And so it won't really do shit for you if you don't have a good foundation in the first place. So this is really step 1, but this is just, I wanted to bring it up just for you to continue doing this, to make sure everybody knows that without a good foundation, supplements aren't really going to do much for you. Step 4, the last step, is to decide if you want to take other shit. Once your foundation's in a good place, once you're feeling good, once you're in a healthy spot with all those basics that I just said, it's perfectly fine to try different supplements. I would just make sure you're doing your research on them. You know that they're probably not going to have a huge effect on you, but they can make some progress if you are in a really good spot. And I would recommend just taking one of these at a time. So I think one thing I used to do is I used to take every supplement under the sun. And when you do that, at the same time too, if you're taking I'm going to start taking 5 different supplements, you don't really know which one's making an impact, if there is one, right? And so if you take one at a time, you can kind of figure out over the course of a month or so, is this actually making an impact? Is this not? I can get rid of it. I can try something else, if you want to go that route. But you can always ditch them. But if you're taking a ton of supplements at once, you won't really know if they're if you are feeling better, you won't really know what the culprit is. So you're going to have to keep taking all of them. Otherwise, you could have 4 of them that you're just wasting your money on.
Yeah, dude, that was really well said. I love that you put it into a framework. And yeah, whoever's listening, I think if you guys follow that framework, you'll be able to figure out what's actually important within the supplements, but then what also will actually get you going in the right direction with your goals.
100%, dude. And with that, do you got anything else to add?
No, I think actually, I guess I do. I sort of touched on in the beginning, but if you find a supplement that one is high quality first and has some research around it, but if it makes you feel good, it makes you perform in a certain way or improves one area, I wouldn't get too caught up in making sure you definitely need it. But as long as it's something that's safe and it makes you feel good, I think that's perfectly fine to go that route too.
I love it. Good shit, dude. Well, thanks as always, everybody, for watching. Make sure you subscribe to us, watch us on YouTube. Share this with somebody who needs to hear it. If they're a supplement junkie and they need a little bit of a fucking push in the right direction, share this with them. Share this with whoever. We appreciate everybody watching, listening every week, and we hope you have a good rest of your week.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.